In this video, the Netflix movie, Spaceman, is explained. The movie, based on Jerry Cowles' 2017 book Spaceman of Bohemia, follows a cosmonaut engaged in an innovative space research project. But when he learns that another human is on his spacecraft, things start to get weird and unsettling for him. With Adam Sandler in the lead position, Spaceman is a enjoyable film that offers some insightful perspectives on relationships and love. Spaceman begins with a somewhat cryptic scene in which a man in full cosmonaut gear walks through a shallow stream on Earth, amazed at something in front of him. But very soon this scene turns out to be mere imagination, as the cosmonaut is broken by a voice over the intercom. The man is Jakub Prochaska, a cosmonaut from the Czech Republic currently in the middle of a mission as part of the Czech and European Space Research Program. Jakub has already spent a little over 6 months in space aboard his ship, and his mission is to get close enough to a phenomenon and gather sample particles from it for research. This phenomenon is a strange purple light that has become visible in the sky from Earth over the past 2 years, appearing almost like a tear in space. The patch has been named the Choa cloud, and now the Czech space research team has sent Jakub to gather dust particles from near the area to understand what it exactly is. But the unusual part of this research mission is that there is nobody else with Jakub, meaning that he has spent 6 months completely by himself in outer space, with quite a few more such days to come. Back at home, Jakub has left behind his pregnant wife Lena, and the two have been arranged to speak with each other via a device named Czech Connect Quantum. The space mission has also been funded by numerous private companies, leading to instances where Jakub has to directly advertise their products, and the quantum machine is one such product as well, which allows people on Earth to speak with someone in space in real time. However, Lenka has not been receiving Jakub's calls for some time now, despite being physically and mentally well. The reason for Lena's behavior is that she wants to end her marriage with Jakub, and she even records a video in which she speaks about the same. But as Lenka has to send the video to the Czech Space Research authorities, Commissioner Tuma decides not to share it with Jakub yet, fearing that he would get distracted from his mission. Nonetheless, Jakub has the feeling that something is wrong and remains perplexed and sleepless for a few days. Therefore, he is not entirely sure whether the gigantic English-speaking spider that he suddenly starts seeing on his spaceship is real or just a figment of his imagination. Why did Lenka and Jakub's relationship fail? The central theme of Spaceman is Jakub and Lenka's relationship. Even though the story takes place in space and features the peculiar idea of a cosmonaut befriending a talking spider, Lena's first reason for quitting her spouse seemed a little hasty, and after spending a few days with her mother, she also muses that perhaps this isn't the ideal moment to call it quits on her marriage. This is due to the link between pregnancy and the impending birth of a kid who would undoubtedly benefit from having a father by her side. The mother is therefore concerned that Jakub's presence will help both Lenka and her child in the next few years. On the other side, the leader of the Czech Space Research Program, Commissioner Tuma, is also of the opinion that she should support and love Jakub, but for a different reason. Tuma, the efficiency of Jakub in carrying out the research mission is extremely important, and she knows that news of his marriage failing will cause problems in the mission. So she keeps Lena's video a secret from Jakub and suggests that the woman should not leave her husband. Jakub is informed that either Lenka is not at home or the quantum device needs to be fixed every time he asks for her, and instructs his operator Peter to make sure she is safe. However, further information regarding Jakub's relationship with Lenka is disclosed when he converses with the spider aboard his spacecraft. By the conclusion, it is clear why Lenka wishes to dissolve her marriage. She is profoundly hurt and unsure of what Jakub desires. Even though Lena was a lifeguard and Jakub was afraid of water, the two fell in love fairly fast after their first encounter. Despite their differences, the two decided to stay together and got married with hopes of a bright future. But with time, Jacob started to change as he grew more invested and interested in his profession to the point where he simply did not care about his wife's well-being anymore. From Jakob's side, he admits that the spark and the attractive action that he once felt for Linka are no more, but he does genuinely want to feel the same way about her again. The wife had given him multiple chances earlier, but there was no sign of any improvement in Jakob. A few years earlier, Linka had been pregnant, but she had to go through the toll of it completely alone, since her husband was always away at work. This led to a terrible crisis, for Linka suffered a miscarriage, and she was shattered following the incident. Jacob did give her love and comfort during the time, and he also made promises about changing his ways and giving more attention and focus to his personal life. Convinced that he would be a better husband now, the couple tried becoming parents once more, and Linka got pregnant at present. However, it soon became clear that Jakob had not changed, for his passion and deep interest in space research still consumed him to the point of making him extremely selfish. Linka was once again left by herself to deal with the pregnant, and then Jacob went on to leave the planet altogether, accepting the mission to fly to the Choa cloud and collect particles. Despite his promises about making efforts to improve their relationship, Jakob had completely let Linka down, making her feel helpless and without any other choice. While she already had enough reason to leave her husband, the hormonal effects of her pregnancy on her mental state further convinced Linka that getting a divorce was the only option. So she recorded the video for Jakob. Why does Hannes appear before Jakob? Jacob nearly believes he is going crazy when he first sees a huge spider in his spacecraft speaking to him in fluent English. Observing the creature's persistence, he even attempts to eradicate it by thoroughly cleaning the entire ship. This is ineffective as well, because the spider quickly makes it clear that it is not a creature of this planet, but rather a product of extraterrestrial life. Upon their eventual mutual acceptance and friendship, Jakob gives the spider the name Hannes and confides in him about his personal life. The man does not have to do much to tell Hannes about himself, simply because the spider can read his mind and even get access to images and memories in his head. Hannes reveals that his home planet had been destroyed by space insects called Gorm, and he was the only survivor left. Following his escape, Hannes kept roaming through space and studying various matters until he discovered the existence of Jakob in his ship in outer space. Hughes states that although he researched and understood about humans, he was intrigued and dumbfounded after learning about Jacob, for he had never known of someone so melancholic. It is indeed Jakob's sadness and loneliness that brought the spider to his spacecraft, because the alien creature wants to study and understand the reason for such a state. After seeing Jakob's past and learning about why his marriage with Linka was about to break, Hannes is no longer surprised, for he realizes where the man had gone so wrong. In the process, he also successfully makes Jakob realize his own mistakes, as the cosmonaut admits how he had been selfish and blind towards the needs of his wife. The entire stretch of Jakob's meeting with Hannes works like a therapeutic experience for the man, and in this regard it is very obvious to question whether Hannes is even real. Spaceman deals with the character of Hannes as if he is completely real till the very end, but there can be plenty of doubts about his existence. After all, Hannes does seem to be a very corporeal projection of Jacob's psyche and his guilty conscience, for he very well knows that he has abandoned Lena in a certain way. This is why. This asks Peter to connect him to Linka via a telephone call and directly apologizes to his wife, accepting her silence and unwillingness to speak with him. How Hannes can read and view Jakob's thoughts, and how he convinces the man, can be seen as proof of the spider being a figment of Jacob's imagination. Hannes is also visible and audible to Jakob, with Peter not seeing or hearing the spider at any time. Although it is mentioned that all the cameras on the spaceship have gone faulty, Peter's inability to hear the spider's voice probably suggests that it is all inside Jacob's head. When Hannes first disappears after learning how self-centered Jacob is. The latter is scared of being alone and pleads with him to stay back. Hannes returns after Jacob apologizes to Lena, but then, when he decides to leave the spaceship at the end, Jacob is once again perplexed by the situation to the point of dangerously following the spider outside. These incidents are perhaps further suggestions that Jacob had made up the character of Hannes in his mind to deal with the terrible loneliness and the unsettling thoughts about his failing marriage buzzing in his head. At the end of Spaceman, Jacob's ship finally reaches close enough to the Choa cloud, but as he attempts to gather dust particles from it, Hannes leaves the ship. The spider is now content after giving Jacob the lesson of his life, but the latter is unwilling to let go of his company. Jacob gears up and leaves the ship only to be pulled inside the purple Choa cloud, which holds everything inside of it from the beginning to the end of time. As the cosmonaut floats through all these memories and elements, witnessing various events and occurrences from throughout the period, he remarks that the only thing missing here is the existence of his beloved wife Lanka. Other than helping Jacob come to the idea that he wants to be with his wife again, the Choa cloud has very little bearing on the plot of Spaceman. He was the most alone guy in the universe because of his intense enthusiasm and interest in space travel, but Lanka, the most important aspect of his life, was nowhere to be found. In this expanded fantasy, Jacob chooses to be with Lenka above his passion and space research, as seen by the scene where he is seen strolling through the stream on Earth while wearing his Cosmina costume. As Hannes dies and is consumed by the Gorm, Jacob gets pushed out of the mysterious Choa cloud, making it seem like he too will lose his life. Love triumphs in every way throughout Spaceman's ending, both in Jacob's personal life and his present circumstances. It was previously revealed that the South Korean Space Agency and the Czech Space Research Agency have been competing for some time to reach the Choa cloud first, and now it is the Korean cosmonauts that saved Jacob from floating into spacetime oblivion. The worth of human life is prioritized over international rivalries and a space race for national prestige. Jacob uses the chance to phone Lenka from the Korean spacecraft, declaring his love for her and indicating that the two would ultimately get back together.